that those that may not understand will be able to understand what I'm saying. And after that, I will ask those people who have been asked to speak and remember Jerry, because that's the main function and purpose of a minyan, is to remember with love the wonderful relationships that you had with Jerry, and may he rest in peace. And after the last person has spoken, then I will conclude the service with two prayers that are traditionally said, one that asks for Jerry's rest in peace, and that God be with him as he makes his journey from this world to the next, and the Kaddish prayer, the memorial prayer that's said upon the death of a loved one. And so that will be the way we'll operate tonight. So having said that, I'm going to ask if everyone makes sure that you can mute yourself so that we don't have any interruptions. And if not, we have our host that will mute for you. I hate saying that word. I can't stand that anybody has to be muted, but unfortunately that's in the Zoom world how we have to function. Otherwise it makes it hard for all of us to appreciate what's going on. Okay, so with that, going to begin the evening service. In Hebrew, it's called Ma'ariv. And again, if you know any of the prayers and want to join with me, feel free. If not, just feel free to meditate or think about what is a spiritual path for you. Oh God, you give meaning to our days, to our struggles and the strivings. In the stillness of the night and in the press of the crowd, yours, oh God, is the voice within that brings joy and peace. We do not ask for a life of ease, for happiness without alloy. We ask only to be uncomplaining and unafraid. In our darkness, oh God, be our light. In our loneliness, help us to discover the many souls akin to our own. Give us strength to face life with courage, to draw blessing even from its discords and conflicts. Make us understand that life calls us not merely to enjoy the richness of the earth, but to exult in heights gained after the toil of climbing. Let our darkness be dispelled by your love, O God, that we may rise above fear and failure, our steps sustained by faith. You give meaning to our days, you are our support and our trust. And the call to worship is called the Baruch Hu, and it goes like this: Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevarach, Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed. And the next prayer is one that acknowledges that God is the creator of the universe. And when we see all the beauties of nature, maybe during this prayer you can think of a time in your life when you felt connected to the universe through the beauty of nature, whether it be at the seashore, whether it be looking up at the stars in heaven, or majestic mountains soaring to the heights of heaven. Think about a time in your life when you felt really at one with the universe. Praise be our eternal God, ruler of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding makes the ages pass and the seasons alternate, and whose will controls the stars as they travel through the skies. You're a creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. You cause day to pass and bring on the night, separating day from night. You command the hosts of heaven. May the living and eternal God rule us always to the end of time. We praise you, eternal one, whose word makes evening fall. And the next prayer is one that thanks God that we have a way in this world, and that God gave us a Torah that teaches us right from wrong and helps us to navigate morality. And so the prayer says, unending is your love for your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. Therefore, O God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever. Day and night we reflect on them, for they are the life and the length of our days. Then your love shall never depart from our hearts. We praise you, eternal one, who loves your people Israel. And some of you, I'm sure, may know the words of the Shema. That is the central prayer that speaks of the oneness of God. And it is the central prayer in Judaism that's said upon awakening and upon going to sleep, and even upon the last words upon your lips before you pass into eternity. And so if you know these words, please feel free to join with me as I chant them. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. You shall love the Lord, your eternal, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your being. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am the eternal God who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your eternal God. And as Jews, we never forget that moment in time when we had our backs to the wall, meaning the Egyptians were in hot pursuit. We came to the sea and we could not get across. There was no Israeli Corps of Engineers to build a bridge. There was no Israeli army to bound the Egyptians that were in hot pursuit of us, trying to take us back to slavery. Instead, we only had faith. And a miracle occurred that we never forgot, which is the parting of the sea. And our Israelite forebears sang a song that we sing to this very day every time we pray in a morning or evening service. The words are Michamocha. Again, if you know them, please feel free to join with me. Michamocha, Ohelim Adonai, Michamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehilot, Ose Fele, Malchutecha Ra'u Vanecha, Bokeh Yam Lifnei Moshe, Zeilianu Yameru, Zeilianu Yameru, Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vaed. And Amarki Adonai Yaakov Golomi Achazak Mimenu, Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. And now, my friends, comes the heart of the service. And instead of my chanting these prayers, I'm going to ask, as the rabbis always intended it to be the prayers of your own heart. The rabbis say the most important prayers are not the ones written on the page, but the ones written upon your own individual heart. So I'm going to take the next minute or two in silence for you to each in your own way ask of God those things that may be in your heart, or perhaps think of Jerry and something in his life that you'll always take with you, something of his virtues, something of his character that you hope that you can maybe emulate and bring to fruition in your life to honor his memory. So however you wish, we're going to take the next minute or two to pray silently. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, imeru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. As I mentioned, this is the time that we're going to have the chance to honor Jerry's memory by having those near and dear to him, family members and friends, offer some words. Sometimes words are hard to come by when one is choked by emotion, by the loss of a loved one. But to do so, our rabbis tell us, is among the highest ways that we can honor somebody is by speaking the words of love and devotion that are in our hearts. And so I'm going to ask the following people in the following order.
I just have to be on it. I don't have to pay attention.
Okay, we need to. And so we're going to ask the following people to speak in the following order. And so just remember who you're following, so I don't have to call out each time unless someone forgets. But we're going to ask first Joyce to speak. Of course, Jerry's wife, and Cheryl, you'll speak second as daughter of Jerry, of course, and Corey and Karen will have you speak as grandson and fiance. And Janelle will speak following Corey, also granddaughter, of course. And then maybe Colton will make a grand appearance, maybe not, but I'll speak words on his behalf when it comes to his time. And after Colton, of course, being the great grandson, we'll ask sister-in-law Irene, followed by niece Babette, and then Shelley's granddaughter Cindy, and then Joyce's daughter Debbie, and then last we have Pamela Gottlieb, who will be reading a note for Maria and Iman, who are in Dublin, Ireland at the moment. And if I skipped anybody or somebody still wishes, we can carry on at the end. But for right now, I'm going to turn it over to Joyce to be able to lead us off in a tribute to Jerry by remembering what we hope will be his legacy and carry on in his name for years to come. So Joyce, the floor is yours if you want to unmute.
Okay. Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for coming. I just want to start off with something very funny. Jerry used to say to me, honey, when I die, they'll have my funeral in a telephone booth. And he's going to be so surprised to find out how many people really attended his funeral. He's going to be very honored and very happy. So thank you all for coming. I'm going to say something small, nothing too long, but I could go on forever. Anyway, my darling husband, Jerry, when I met you, my sweetheart, my life began. You adored me, you cherished me, and was with me at all times, every day, every year. Things never changed between us, as everything you were to me, I was right back to you always. We were a team, pulled by love, and will be forever. Until we meet again, your devoted wife. I love you, my husband.
Thank you, Joyce. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
And I know that there's so much more you can say, and you will,
Yeah.
as you talk to your friends and family. I'm sure you'll have many chances to reminisce and talk about the virtues and wonderful memories of his life and your life with him.
Thank you, Rabbi.
May God comfort you in your sorrow. At this time, Cheryl, next.
Okay. The joy of life is used and it's often overused, but not when it came to my daddy. He taught my sister Cindy and I many important life lessons. Hopefully they're together tonight, listening to us. He had me with him from 9 years old, going into the garment center on Saturdays, selling schmattens. I guess that's how I learned all my sales ability. Whatever we did together, we always had so much fun. His greatest joy was making people laugh and always had a story for everybody. Actually, he always had 5 stories for everybody, not just one, all ending in a hearty laugh, and he really was one of a kind. He had an amazing memory. He remembered all of his friends from kindergarten and all his adventures. But I would say to him all the time, Daddy, how do you remember? I don't even remember kindergarten. And I'm a few years younger than you. It was amazing. He was the classic Coney Island kid. For those of you that don't know where he came from Coney Island. The only thing bigger than Coney Island hot dog was my dad's heart. Interesting that he left us on Valentine's Day, and he'll never be forgotten. He really lived to make people happy, and as a result, he lived the joy of every day. I'm very happy that he didn't suffer much. He's forever in my heart and will forever be my angel. You could mute me.
No, that can never mute you, Cheryl. First of all, that's exactly the pain and sorrow you feel at the same time as you're grateful for 92 and a half years of life, as you told me, mostly healthy years. And that's truly a blessing that I'm sure all of us would like to have. But it doesn't matter. We only have one daddy. And when daddy is gone, it hurts. And so I know that was tough for you, but I know that he'd be smiling down at you. At this time, we're going to ask grandchildren, starting with Corey and Karen, if they'd like to say a few words.
I'm gonna live till I die is a quote by Frank Sinatra, one of JB's favorite musicians, and a mantra that JB embodied to his fullest for the first 91 and a half years of his life. And while the past year was challenging for all of us, JB still found things to live for. Whether it was seeing his great grandson and granddaughter for lunches, seeing me and my fiance for meals, just hanging out at the pizza place, ordering Ren Farm or Pomodoro with Joyce, watching simulcast racing, or Gunga Din for the 100th time, JB made the best of COVID. Speaking of simulcasts, as everyone knows, JB loved to play the ponies. And it's amazing that after 80 years of practice, 30 years of daily visits to OTB on 38th Street, where they eventually hung a plaque reading Jerry Bycher's office over the booth he had on reserve in the far back corner, weekends at Monticello, the Meadowlands and Gulfstream racetracks, he was a historically bad gambler. But if you ever asked him how he did, he'd always tell you that he broke even. My theory on this is he needed a challenge. It wasn't enough for him to pick the winner of one race. JB needed the challenge of picking the winner in 6 consecutive races, otherwise known as a pick six. While I have stories about going to the track with JB at 6 years old and being left alone for what seemed like an eternity while he went to go get hot dogs, only for him to return to see me, the first boy in 50 years, as he proudly liked to tell everyone and anyone that would listen, crying, and I quote, like a little baby, to which I always had to remind him that I actually was a baby every time he recounted the story in the way that only JB could, like it was the first time he ever told it. This is a skill and a memory I'll never forget. Over the years, he would tell the same story hundreds of times, and each time he told it with the same energy, excitement, passion, laughter, and enthusiasm, aka pounding of the table, as if it happened just yesterday. But I digress. While JB's pick sixes at the racetracks rarely panned out, there are 6 things that were so incredibly important to him: family, friends, Coney Island, and as I learned just earlier today, someone referred to him as the king of Coney Island, which sounded so fitting. Horses, pizza, and of course, Diet Coke. Yes, Diet Coke. While it may be an odd thing to have on this list, if you were ever lucky enough to have had a meal with JB, you know that before he even sat down, he ordered 2 Diet Cokes with a cup of ice on the side. And when it was brought over, he would give the person a few dollars and a patented, "Thank you, baby." While I know I'm incredibly lucky to have had my grandfather in my life for the past 35 years, I'm even luckier to truly call him my friend. And sure, there was he was stern at times, but the other 99.9% of the time, despite the nearly 60-year age difference, we always managed to genuinely enjoy each other's company and have a lot of fun along the way. A few of my favorite memories are, along with my sister and grandma, and a couple of years with Janelle, we would listen/sing along to Tom Jones, It's Not Unusual, or What's New Pussycat, in his never more than 2-year-old Cadillac, while we drove down to Atlantic City for a Miss American pageant. We went 6 years in a row. In Atlantic City, we would eat funnel cake on the boardwalk, and during the actual pageant, I would inevitably fall asleep. And every year, year after year, like Groundhog's Day, on cue, JB would give me an elbow to the ribs during the swimsuit contest just to make sure I was awake. He would take me to see professional wrestling matches. We, of course, would have great seats. JB would always buy out the concession stands, and when they weren't local, I'd spend Sunday evenings in Cliffside Park, New Jersey, watching wrestling on pay-per-view in adjacent Lazy Boy recliners, eating White Castle hamburgers and snacking on Sour Patch Kids. We would go to Sports World, which was a local arcade/mini amusement park. And JB would always start each trip the same way, with $100 in tokens. We dragged him all over that place for hours on end, and he loved every second of it. Some of the best and most special times were when I would go to work with JB. We'd wake up early, we'd drive through the Lincoln Tunnel and have breakfast at Andrew's Coffee Shop on 35th Street. After we'd finished, he'd give me $20 to buy candy from the newsstand, and if they didn't have what I wanted, we'd go to another before going upstairs to his office. I'd help them fax and make copies, and before long, we'd go around to visit his clients. I always thought it was work related, but it certainly was more so that he could just show me off. And if I didn't mention this before, I am the first boy in 50 years. We'd go for lunches, generally Italian, with a few colleagues or clients, and JB always paid. After lunch, it was off to OTB before heading back to New Jersey for dinner. Most days I had to share my grandfather's attention, but on these days, it was just the two of us, and I wouldn't want it any other way. We'd go to professional basketball games. He'd come to my basketball games, one time answering the phone with a big hello when the entire crowd was silent. There were countless dinners at the Palm where he would order the best steak they had, well done, burnt, with a side of ketchup. Barney Greengrass breakfasts, kippers, burnt. Birthdays, holidays, and all other celebrations in between. While there are so many memories I wish he could still be a part of, like my upcoming wedding, I know he'll be there in spirit. I'm so glad he and Karen got to meet and form such a close bond over the past year and a half. Every time we called, he would give Karen a big, hiya, baby, that we will never forget. JB was also the first family member I introduced to Karen, and immediately following that first dinner, he called my mom, telling her that he had just met my future wife. There are so many reasons to be sad, but many more memories to cherish, JB's stories to relive, and Diet Cokes to drink.
I met JB a year and a half ago, and though I wish I had more time with him, my love for him runs deep. It was love at first sight for the both of us. JB was intuitive, as he loved to say. He knew after 1 minute of meeting me that Corey and I were meant for each other. Every conversation we had with him, he would always sneak in some sort of comment about our future. You guys gonna live together or what? Where's the ring? When Corey and I said we wanted a dog, he flipped. A dog? Get married first, and then we can talk about a dog. All we wanted was for him to walk down the aisle of our wedding. And now all I want is to be able to call him and hear him say, hiya, baby. JB was both thrilled and relieved to know our wedding was imminent. And while he left us too soon, he made an everlasting impression. We know his spirit will always be with us at our wedding and throughout our lives. I'm so grateful for the memories we shared together, for the stories I heard about his life, and the moments he cherished with Corey, which made his face light up every time he'd share with me. We will be sure to play a Sinatra song whenever we think of him, which will be often and played loudly. JB stole a huge piece of my heart and the hearts of my parents, but we wouldn't have it any other way. May his memory be a blessing.
Amen. Very beautifully said. Beautifully rich memories, and continuing with rich memories of grandchildren, Janelle and Hector.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for being here today. I know my grandfather is very happy watching all of us. Hopefully somebody up there taught him how to do Zoom so he can be here too. For my papa, let's begin with what we called each other. So a very common term of endearment in many Jewish families I've come to learn is Mama Shana. And as a kid, I thought that if I was Mama Shana, then he should be Papa Shana. And it's stuck with us ever since. Our conversations would start off like, "Hi, Mama Shana." I'd say, "Hi, Papa Shana, how are you?" He's like, "Are you kidding? Now that I hear your voice, I'm terrific." And it's crazy to think that I can never hear him say those words again because they're just so clear in my head. Growing up, there was never a dull moment or any time that I had to go without anything. If I wanted candy, soda, clothes, anything, he made sure I had it. My favorite times were laying in bed with him, watching old movies and eating snacks and just listening to his jokes. One fond memory I have that my Aunt Cheryl reminded me of was how I learned what the word schmuck meant. So I was probably like 6 or 7 years old. We were at my Aunt Cheryl's house in Alpine, and somebody, maybe Papa, said, "What a schmuck." And I said, "Papa, what's a schmuck?" And he said, with a very serious face, and he looked at me, with his hands, and he's like, "Mama Shana, a schmuck is someone that says that they pee before going into the shower. Everybody pees in the shower." And, later Bob proceeded to tell me the medical, definition of what a schmuck was. And I still prefer my grandfather's over that. He was always my biggest cheerleader, and growing up without my parents, he was like a paternal father, grandfather, all in one. And 28 years still wasn't enough time for me, probably any of us. And I will miss him every day. I promise to always give you credit for all your jokes and stories. And please watch over us, Papa, and give us signs that you are close by.
Beautifully said, Janelle. Thank you. And Lindsay, is Colton around to say hello? Or
No, not yet. I'll let you know
Not-
when it comes up.
okay. Well, I know that Colton would want to say that he loved his great grandpa very much, and hopefully before bedtime he can give us a smile. Next would be Irene, sister-in-law Irene. So.
Hi, before I say a few words about Jerry, I would like to send my condolences to Joy, Cheryl, Lindsay, Corey, Karen, and Janelle. Jerry was my brother-in-law whom I loved. He loved my daughters and my grandchildren. I was 11 when he met my sister. He was like a brother to me. My younger daughter, Kara, had allergies when we moved to Florida in 1972, and she went to stay with my sister and Jerry, and every night he brought her home a toy. That's how he was. We'll never forget him, ever. Joyce, stay well, please, and keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. And Babette?
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, so I'm sorry, I don't have a picture. All I want to say is that Uncle Jerry was 1 in a million. I have so many fond memories of him. When my sister and I would go to the clock with him for lunch or dinner, he loved it, and he'd always take us to Play World, and we'd always get a toy. He would take us for donuts and pizza, and I'm so happy that I got to speak to him a couple of weeks ago, because he was just amazing, and I'm going to miss him very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Babette. And now Cindy.
These oranges are pretty good, right?
Is Cindy there? Shelley's granddaughter.
Oh, hello. Hi, I'm here. Well, I would like to say that Uncle Jerry was one of the funniest guys that me and my family ever came in contact with. It was really nice seeing him every time we did, because he would always keep the memories of my grandfather Shelley alive. So it was awesome seeing him all the time when we did see him. He was really sweet, and he'll never be forgotten through all of his stories that he used to tell. There was never a dull or silent moment with him, and we'll miss him very much. And we send love and prayers to all of the family.
Thank you, Cindy. And now Joyce's daughter, Debbie.
I'm Debbie, Joyce's daughter, and on behalf of my husband, Jeffrey, and my kids, I just want to say how heartbroken we all are, having lost our Jerry, who we so adored. To know Jerry was to love him, as he had the softest heart with the roughest edges. Jerry was the most genuine person, and he loved to share his life with us and all the people he connected with all along his way, and that could be anyone. Jerry had the ability to relate to all walks of life. He told the best stories with his incredible memory and passion for his life. He was so captivating. Stories of his Brooklyn street days, his kid brother who he lost way too soon and loved so much, Coney Island custard stands, his club friends, his work as a successful coat salesman when the garment center was the place to be, and of course, the ponies at the racetrack. Jerry was all about his family and all about his friends and friends and friends, and he outlived almost every single one of the 75 of them he told me about. Besides being one of the best storytellers, Jerry was an incredible listener. He took such interest in me and my family with such genuine, kind, loving devotion. He was a one-of-a-kind, larger-than-life special man. The best memory we have of Jerry was the quality time we had together in Aspen, Colorado for Ryan and Pamela's wedding. Jerry was in all his glory there with the international rugby matches across the street from the hotel. While everyone was hiking and biking, eating and shopping, he was watching the game, trying to learn the sport, and making friends with the players, the fans, the refs, and even the dogs. Only thing he didn't love was that he wasn't able to place a bet. Jerry, what a fun, loving, long, passion-filled life you had. We will miss you so much. We will miss you and my mom together so much. And while we may no longer see you, we will always hear you saying, "Hiya, baby." And we will know that you are looking after all of us. Rest in peace, Jer, and you can be assured we will all be taking care, the best, best, best care forever of my mom for you.
Thank you, Debbie. It's beautiful. And we have Pamela Gottlieb, who has a message that she'd like to share.
On behalf of Maria and Eamon, in loving memory of Jerry and of a life well lived. When we think of Jerry, the room fills with his presence because he was no wilting flower, but rather he bloomed full and he bloomed bright. When he laughed, every inch of his 6-foot-plus frame exuded his joy, and you felt what he felt, even if you didn't get the joke. And when he spoke, you listened. We doubt anyone had to ask Jerry to repeat anything ever. He loved life and he didn't waste 1 second of it, as it was a gift he fully appreciated and one he made full use of. He was a big man who had a big voice and a big personality, but above all else, he had a big heart. He loved his family dearly and they dearly loved him. His departure from their world has left them with broken hearts, as well as a lifetime of beautiful memories that hopefully will one day help to ease their pain. Until then, they grieve the loss of a loving husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, uncle, granduncle, and cousin. He was also a friend to many and will be missed by them all. To know Jerry was to love him and to never forget him, and we never will. Love, Maria and Eamon from Dublin, Ireland.
Thank you, Pamela, for sharing those words by Maria and Eamon. Before I conclude with a couple of prayers, I'll ask if there's anybody who briefly is on with us that'd like to unmute and say something. Just if you keep the words brief so that anyone else who wishes to speak may at this time. So that was the official list we had. If there's anybody else that
I'd like to speak. I'd like to speak.
Introduce yourself, please.
I don't know if you could hear me. I'm Karen Cohen Green. I'm on now. I think my sister is on the Zoom call as well. And I wanted to offer my condolences to Cheryl and her family, and just relate how Jerry touched my family over so many years. I'll try to be as brief as possible. The Bycher family and the Goldman Cohen family has known each other for probably 70 years, in excess of 70 years. And only recently, about a year, December of 2019, did Cheryl and I meet in the most unusual of circumstances. Jerry and my mother, Jerry, his brother, and my mother were contemporaries, but Jerry's mom, Lena, was like an aunt to me. And I only knew of Cheryl and her lovely sister, Cindy, not really well, but they were very sort of a part of my life. In December of 2019, I was sitting in a with my kids and my mom in Florida. My mother lives in Florida, and my son does, at a cafe in Boca. And I looked over at a table, and I kept looking back at a woman, and I said, she really looks vaguely familiar. I probably had not seen Cheryl in probably 40 years, and only then knew her minimally. And I don't know what possessed me, but I walked over to her and I said, I'm sorry, I just have to ask you, is your last name Bycher? Are you Cheryl Bycher? And she looked at me and she's stunned, and I don't blame her for being stunned. And I explained to who I was. I explained to her how lovely her family was, her grandmother, her father, and I just can't tell you what it was like reuniting with her, because just maybe 2 months after, Jerry got to reunite with my mom in Florida, and thank you to Janelle for making that happen. And then about a month after that, a year ago, I got to see Jerry with my mom at Cheryl's house, and it was so special. And I can't tell you how stories of Jerry was so much part of my family. And I'm so thrilled to have been able to reunite with him for a short period of time. And I know it was meaningful to my mother, it was meaningful to him. He was larger than life. He was everything that is Brooklyn brawn and street smarts and zest for life and such savvy. And you know, I'm at the time when I saw Cheryl, I was just crying happy tears. And talk about a life well lived. Cheryl, my condolences to you. May Jerry, maybe your father, may his neshama have an aliyah, and may you only know from simchas.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that. Again, last chance if anybody wants to say something. And
I would like to speak if I can. I'm Karen's sister, and as well condolences to Cheryl and the rest of the family. I have two memories that I wanted to share. We, as my sister mentioned, Lena and Julie were very special to us. We didn't have a lot of relatives, and it was always very special to see them. I don't remember really ever seeing Jerry or Shelley when I was a younger child, but there were always pictures at Lena's house. And then one day, both Jerry and Shelley showed up at her house. And Lena said, "What are you doing? Take Goldie's daughter to Astroland, take her to the rides." And I don't remember if my brother or sister were there. I don't remember my age at the time, but it was incredible. I felt strange. I didn't really know them. Shelley looked exactly like Elvis Presley back then. Was wearing a kind of a leather jacket. And from the time we walked in to Astroland, Jerry was just making jokes and dancing around. And I really thought for a little while, I think I was about 9 or 10, I thought I was with Elvis Presley and Jerry Lewis. They were just hysterical together. But one memory that will always stick with me, years later, I was starting law school and I came back on a vacation, a holiday to visit Lena. Jerry was there and Lena said, "Take her and get her a coat. She's going to be a lawyer. Take her and get her a coat." So I got to go to the garment district and I left with a trench coat. I felt like such a lawyer. I could never have afforded it on my own. He was so generous, as the entire family was. And I kept that coat with me. It went on many a trip for many years, came with me. I've been out of law school now for over 40 years, and I've only a couple of years ago parted with that coat because at this point it probably fit on one arm, but it meant a lot to me because it was something that came from family. And I can't imagine somebody making a bigger impression, a bigger impact on the hearts of anyone. I feel so lucky to have known, Cheryl, your grandparents, and to have known your father and your uncle, and how special. I really appreciate being included on this. Karen was nice enough to share it with me. I wish you the comfort of very special memories.
Amen. Thank you.
We can speak. We'd like to say a few words. We're Karen's parents at Yoav. We'd like to send our condolences to Cheryl and Joyce and the entire family. Yoav and I met Jerry just twice, once on Zoom, once in person with Joyce. Both times were joyful. He had a big personality that connected us together instantly. He possessed a great sense of humor and also a deep sensitivity. He filled his space with love and care. We know how much he loved his family. He talked about his daughters and shared pictures with us. He certainly loved deeply. And we also know that he loved Corey and Corey with Karen. He knew that they'd get married before maybe they even knew. We feel fortunate to have met Jerry. He's a big part of Corey's life. And now with Corey and Karen, we have some memories to cherish as well. His spirit lives on.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful.
So I met Jerry and Joyce in our building. We live in the same building. My name's Susan Schwartz. My husband David is here. It's just impossible to imagine not running into Jerry in the lobby. That huge, big smile and those big brown eyes. What a joyous, happy man. Never complained about anything, not even the ponies. He loved his family, but boy, did he love Joyce. Just, it's hard to imagine not having him around. Joyce, he will be missed, but we'll take good care of you. Lots of love to both of you.
Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, I'm Guy Kinberg. I was Jerry's lifelong track buddy. And I know Jerry loved the ponies. And in fact, the first time I ever met Joyce was at OTB in New York City. And I had the fortune of spending many, many days with Jerry at the racetrack and obviously at Arnold's restaurant on 38th Street. I moved to California with my wife about 12 years ago and kept in touch with Jerry and Joyce. In fact, I spoke to Jerry at least once a week, most of the time on Saturdays, to tell him who I liked in the races. And Jerry and I were very, very close. I'm going to miss him dearly. And my Saturdays.
I will, this is Lana Kinberg. I think what I always remember about those Saturdays was the phone would ring, or he would be calling Jerry because Jerry would sleep in, and of course a 3-hour time difference, and he would be like, "Where's Jerry? Where's Jerry?" And finally he'd get the phone call, and all I would hear is Jerry on speaker, guy giving him the numbers, and Jerry saying, go. And then the next number, go, next number, go. And that I would hear that from anywhere in the house. I would hear go. And I would say, this is what Guy's doing this Saturday. And it was a constant. I don't remember a Saturday where Jerry wasn't playing the ponies with Guy. So we were blessed when he could come out to California and now Las Vegas. He was just here a year ago this time. They were in the sports book every day, racing the ponies. So we'll be missed.
Joyce, we love you, and I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
I met Jerry back in the 70s. My late wife was his first wife's cousin. And I heard about Jerry before I met him, and you couldn't help but love him. He was a special person. I've been to the horse races with Jerry. Jerry used to always talk about his children. In fact, I sent Corey a note that I remember, yes, the basketball games, Bill, you want to go to a wrestling match? And I said, no, Jerry, we're going to a play. But Jerry, when Jerry laughed, everybody could hear Jerry laugh. When he came to California, I was born in New Jersey, but living in California for the past almost 50 years now, he would always want to see Morty and Shelby, and I see them, and they still look the same. And, but we had a lot of fun together. And Joyce, I'm so glad you made him happy and he made you happy through his last years. And I've always felt like I was part of the family, so I'll miss them. But one thing that will live on, and it was said by few people, the memories, they will live on forever. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take just one more if anybody wishes. One more. Okay, then let me try to conclude by saying a few words first, is that I've done, well, first of all, the miracle of technology that people from all over the world, from all over the United States can all be together. That's a benefit of COVID, I suppose, is that in such a way that we could all share these memories from wherever you may be. Second of all, what an amazing tribute to see as many of you. I mean, page after page, I keep looking. I've done virtual Minyans, unfortunately, this past year, too many. And I don't remember seeing this many people for someone like, as you see for Jerry. So that speaks volumes. There's no way you could all fit in a phone booth, that's for sure. The third thing I want to say is that to have the kind of larger than life personality reminds me of a quote by a dear friend, a colleague of mine, an older colleague, Rabbi Jacob Rudin. And he wrote, "When we are dead and people weep for us and grieve, let it be because we touched their lives with beauty and passion. Let it not be said that life was good to us, but rather that we were good to life." And I think that Jerry was good to many lives, as testimony by seeing all who are here as family and dear friends. And so may Jerry Bycher's memory forever be a bracha, a blessing to all who cherish his memory. Zichrono livracha, may his memory forever be a blessing. The Emalei Rachamim prayer is said in Hebrew and English. It's traditionally said while standing. So if you are able, I would ask you to stand in honor of Jerry. And as I recite this prayer in Hebrew and again in English. Emalei Rachamim shochein b'amromim hamsemnu nachona tachat kanfei hashechina im kedoshim utiarim Kezohara Kiemasirim, Et Nishmat Getzel Ben Bina, Shalach Le'olamo, Baal Harachamim Yashtirehu, B'Seter Kanafav Le'olamim, Vayitzor B'Tzrachim Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu Nachlato, V'Anuach B'Shalom HaMishkavo, V'Nomar Amen. God, full of compassion, you dwell in the heights and in the depths. Grant perfect rest under the wings of your presence to Jerry Bycher, who has gone to his eternal home. Let him find refuge forever in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. For you, the everlasting God, are his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And together we say, Amen. The last prayer that we'll recite is known as our Mourner's Kaddish. It is a prayer that does not speak of death, but speaks of life and the goodness of a life well lived. It is a prayer that is strong enough to chain heaven to earth. It is a prayer that for 2,000 years has bound our people together in remembering our loved ones. And so if you know the prayer and you wish to join, please join me at home, wherever you may be. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivarach rutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yimeyachon v'chay dechol beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv yimeru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei amayim. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekodesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirota, tushbechata v'nechamota, damirandi lama v'yimeru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemayim, v'chayim aleinu v'yako Yisrael v'yimeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yako Yisrael v'yimeru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated. I just want to leave you with this, and then I'll give it to Cheryl.
Rabbi, you just
Yeah, I'm
want
going
to
to give
say
it back. Cheryl, I'm going to give it back to you to say the last word. I just wanted to say that when our loved ones are grieving and they're in Shiva, we come together during the week or so following a person that we love who's entered eternity. But as we all know, grief is something that can go on for much longer than a week. And so I ask you as friends, and there's so many of you, please keep in touch with family, together with Joyce and Cheryl and the grandchildren, and let them know that you're still thinking of them, especially when it gets hard, when they really miss the one they love. So a phone call, just reaching out and seeing how they're doing is really a mitzvah that you can perform. So thank you for letting me be part of this occasion to be with you as we remember Jerry. And Cheryl, I'll turn it back to you for the last word.
Colton is here.
Oh, okay. Wait, I can't find you. Wait, we end with the best. The great grandchild. Where is he? I can't find you, Lindsay.
Here.
They're there. Okay. Oh, I see. Cole. Oh my God, look at that handsome face.
Colton, can you blow some kisses?
Can you blow some kisses, Grandma?
Wow.
I
That's
want
beautiful.
two. Give me two.
Kisses.
Give me
Give her
two.
1, 2. Give her a 1, 2.
Oh. What a way. That's good. Oh, look abroad. Very nice. Thank you, Lindsay. That's a great way for us to end. Again, Cheryl, is there anything you want to say to conclude?
I thank everybody for being here, and I'm amazed of how many people actually showed up, and it's a wonderful tribute to my dad. And life goes on, and he'll be my angel forever, and he'll be watching over all of us. And he left an impression on a lot of people, and it's really wonderful to hear the stories. And I know, Rabbi, you have to go, but if anybody else wants to say anything, I'm happy to hear what they have to say. But I thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you this weekend. Thank you.
Very good. All right, Lila Tov, everybody. Be safe, be safe, and be well.
Thank you, Rabbi Boxman.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that has anything they want to say, because they could say it now? If not, we're always happy to get emails, videos, however you want to reach out, we're here.
Joyce, this is Donna and Lloyd Landsman, and Joyce, we just are sending our love. We really got to know Jerry in Aspen, and we really had fun with him, and he gave us some good laughs. And we love you. And as soon as COVID is over, we would love to come see you and hear your stories. Sending big warm hugs to you, and we love you.
Cheryl, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Jerry and I send our love, our deepest sympathies, and we'll see you soon. Okay, all right.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
Love you, Aunt Cheryl. I love my family. I'll miss my Uncle Jerry.
I love you, Ben.
Cheryl?
We played hooky in high school, grammar school, and Hebrew
Can you
school
hear me?
together.
Yes, we can hear you.
Cheryl?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi, Morty and Shelby. It's so nice to see you guys. It's been a long time.
Sympathies, but my husband and your father have known each other since they were like 7 and 9, I guess, going into the Amrons. And when we met those many years ago, I said, this is the funniest guy I have ever met. And he could tell the same joke 1,000 times, and I'd laugh as if I'd never heard it before. And I had no funny things or interesting things that happened in my life. I have to live through those two. And they got into plenty of trouble and had so much fun and so many laughs. No one had more laughter than your father. And we send our love and our sympathy, and so happy that he came into our lives at one time or another. Thank you. We still love you guys.
We love you too. We miss you. It's been a long time.
I've seen her since our wedding.
No.
Probably not.
Cheryl,
Hi, Stace.
hey. Just want you to know I love you all very much, and I'm gonna miss him very, very much. And he was the best uncle in the world, and I'm so grateful he was around so many years. He stepped in to take care of us from Daddy. I will miss him, and I hope you and Joyce, Corey, Lindsay, Janelle, everyone heal as quickly as possible. That's all I can say. I love you.
We love you too, Stacy. Thank you. And now he's with your dad.
I know. I don't know what I do.
Wonder if they take bets up in heaven. He'll be betting on us.
Wait, who would lose more money? Shelly or Papa Jerry?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know where I am, but that's a good one.
Well, Shelly actually lived in Las Vegas, so he was closer to things 24/7.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know who would lose more.
That's true too. Well, thank you, everybody. It made our evening. And it was, if there's a good way to start a Shiva and good memories to think about, it was really wonderful for all of you to join us tonight. Do you want to say anything? Okay.
No, oh God, what are you doing? We don't know what we're doing. Oh, babe, what are you doing?
It was just...
All right, if nobody else wants to say anything, I'm happy everybody was here. And Uncle Bill, I'm so happy that you made it. Love everybody. Thank you. We'll be thinking of each and every one of you. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, Cheryl.
Good night. Thank you, Robert, for helping tonight. I appreciate it very much.
We are honored to be part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, Cheryl. Bye, Joyce. Bye, Morty and Shelby, Lindsay, Corey, Janelle.
Cheryl,
And Gloria. And Gloria. How do you shut this?
Well, I guess we could stay on until tomorrow since Shiva just started. We have a whole week. Oh, here we go.
Nanny's trying to talk.
Oh, somebody's trying to talk. No, but is that Scott? I can't see. Hi, Scott. Gloria, did you want to talk or did somebody else want to talk? Because we can unmute you, I guess.
I was waiting for Gloria's talk.
Look at that face. Mm.
Wait, Lindsay, unmute.
Unmute.
Nanny, hold on.
Can you unmute? Maybe not.
I'm trying, hold on. Wait, don't touch that, please. Nanny, hit the yes button.
Hi.
No.
Yeah, how do I?
Good night, Irene.
Yeah.
Gloria has to hit the mute button or the unmute button.
The little microphone.
The little microphone
On the left-hand side.
on the left-hand side, maybe? It's on the screen. Lindsay, Robert, are you still there? Can you unmute?
I think I'm, it doesn't
Irene,
help.
you're not on mute.
Yeah,
Marissa,
very
don't be
little.
embarrassed by her.
I know, I may get a new one. Oh, keep calling me. Okay, bye.
Hi, Marissa. Good to see you guys. Good luck in your new home.
Can I say something, Cheryl?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, honey?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I want you to know that you did a magnificent, magnificent job. I can't thank you enough for the time, the effort, the love. Dad loved you as number one, but this really, you really sent him off as a number one. Thank you for everything and for your kindness, Bob, and for your help through all of this that we've gone through, this horrific COVID situation. It wasn't meant to be, but I think for Dad, it might have been meant to be. And we have to look at it like that because he had, every day he would tell me once a week, Joyce, I had the best life. I did everything I wanted to. I didn't leave anything out. From the moment I was born, my mom, my dad, my dog, my brother. So we have to think of him as having the best life, which is an amazing thing to have. And Cheryl, again, you just did a fabulous job. You're an amazing child, an amazing daughter. I'm very, very proud to share time with you that we've had.
He deserves every bit of it plus more.
Yeah, well, we can only give him more in our thoughts if we talk about him a lot and tell stories about him and, you know, raise a glass to his birthdays and get together like we usually do. That's the way you keep somebody special, when you keep talking about them and keep them going in your mind and in your heart. And that's what we're going to try to do.
It will be very easy.
Okay, good job.
We will all do it.
Good. Yes, we will.
Marissa, anybody else? Maybe she'll push the unmute button now. There she goes. Do I know my Marissa?
Hey guys. Well, you called me out, so I have to say what's on my mind now. I just, you know, he was an amazing man, one of a kind, and no matter how much time went by that I haven't seen him, you know, he would enter a room and I would immediately just just crumble because he was just he was just really special.
And he thought the same thing of you.
He loved his whole family. He really, truly did. All his nieces and everybody, his nephews, he truly loved you all. Truly, he talked about you so often. Any occasion he called you, he wanted to be there for you. He really loved each and every one of you for who you are, what you are, where you are. It didn't make any difference. He was truly, truly, Cheryl would text, it's this one's birthday, it's this one's anniversary. Right away, he went to his telephone, right away to call you all. He just really loved you. And he's very, very blessed to have such a wonderful, wonderful man. I know I was blessed to have such a wonderful man. And we all seem to feel the same way. So that's a terrific feeling for him. He must be so happy tonight. I can't begin to tell you.
I would also just like to add that when Rachel and I announced that we were getting married, Uncle Jerry and Joyce were the very, very first ones to send us a gift and send us their congratulations. So absolute first.
Like I say, he was right there for everybody.
Marissa, you know, if it wasn't for COVID, he would have been there.
Oh, for sure. He was just not, he would have been at your wedding for sure if he was up to it. It was beautiful pictures. You think that's it for tonight, everybody?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Everybody, we had a very long day and we'll have a long week ahead of us. I have to go light my
No, I lit my candle before. Yeah, I lit mine before. Don't forget to blow it out at night, Cheryl, so you don't make no fires in the house.
I thought, no, it's supposed to go for 7 days.
That's what they told me tonight. They said I better blow it out in my little car.
No,
You don't blow it out.
no, if anything, leave it in your sink. So it won't cause any, but you don't blow out candles.
You don't blow out the light.
You don't blow it out. It's supposed to go for
7 days, I know.
7 days.
I'll put it in the sink. That's a great idea, like I do the yahrzeits, yes. Yes.
All right, in memory of you, Dad, we love you. And everybody have a good night.
You too. Good night, everybody, and thank you. Colton, hello.
You see? No, you don't want to.
There he is.
Hello. Hi. What are you eating?
Say, I'm
Is
eating
that a cookie?
Is it a cookie?
All right, Cheryl, how do we close this down, darling?
I'll do it, Joyce.
Okay.
Colton, can we get 2 more kisses? Can we get 2 more kisses, chocolate kisses?
A 1, 2 kiss.
Give me 2 more. Give me 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We love you. I miss you. Mwah.
He's gonna be a big boy, he really
He
is.
is a big boy. Mwah.
All right, Uncle Corey and Aunt Karen.
Lindsay, thanks for everything.
Okay.
Did a
Joyce.
great job.
Joyce needs a kiss. Go, go, go.
I want a chocolate kiss. I want a chocolate one. Chocolate.
All right, we're gonna be here all night, Lynn.
Good night, guys. Thank you, Lindsay, for helping us put this together. Good night, Colton.
Good night,
Have sweet
everybody.
dreams.
Pamela, Ryan, good night.